Not again. No.
I think we're good.
And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell-Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell-Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, finally recording on a Sunday, like normal. No PLE, no pay-per-view. Feels weird. How you doing today?
Feels a little weird. It feels great at the same time. We back. Brad, I can see the sun is shining out the window. Yeah, man, it was a week. Like you said in our production meeting, it's kind of a blur at this point. I think when I ask you about your week and then when you ask me, by the time Sunday hits, I'm like, I don't know, man. I sent some emails. I think I was on time to meetings, and there was a potluck. There was bowling. That was actually really, really fun. The potluck was for a colleague and his birthday. So that went really well. You know, I struggle with the concept of potlucks. I want there to be a day where there's just like an opt-in or opt-out for the potluck. Yeah. Like a respectful one where you don't have to make up, oh, I'm not feeling well, or, you know, just like, potlucks aren't my thing. Maybe I have social anxiety. I don't know. But I'm doing well, Brad. I know we have a lot to talk about on the wrestling end of things, on the Bachelor, the Golden Bachelor side of things.
Yeah, we do. Can't wait.
Maybe some Pistons talk in there. We haven't really addressed this on air very heavily, but
I could say it's going to be short and sweet if I talk about it, much like their hopes for a season.
Brad, I don't mean to flex. And like the Suns are, I think, 12-8 right now, so they are not like crushing it by any means.
Yeah, but that's like, what is that? 6 times the amount of wins?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw a stat. We're speaking about our weeks here. I saw a stat during the week in between the potluck and bowling. The potluck was at the beginning of the week. The bowling was at the end. Really good week. Somewhere in between there, maybe Wednesday before Dynamite, I saw this stat that the Pistons were in danger of going winless in the month of November. We're recording this. It's now December, and I can confirm the Pistons won 0 games.
Yeah.
The roster isn't completely awful, though.
No, when you look at it on paper,
Monty Williams is like the second highest paid coach.
I don't know.
What's going on here?
They're literally bad at everything. This isn't like the Chargers losing games by 3 points. Back to back.
Yeah, Brandon Staley's not going to be there next year. That's a wrap. He's gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I look at them, I just think like nothing's working, nothing's clicking. It's just all bad. And I can't put my finger on one particular thing, but when you're looking at it and you're like, oh, that was a blowout loss to a bad team. That's crazy.
To the Wizards, right?
Yes.
Did I see that correctly? Yes. Brad, that's
yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you cook, man. I'm gonna lay out. I
don't have much to say. It's just the Lions took some of the sauce to get rid of the suck that they've had for 60 years or so. And they just gave it to Detroit Pistons. And the Red Wings have not been good for a long time either, even though they're not nearly as bad as the Pistons. They're not any kind of good. The Tigers have been miserable. That city finally had a bit of a comeback as a city. Detroit's doing much better than it was. I love me some Detroit. Not going there anytime soon, but I have friends that live there, and I love seeing it rise up, and I need their sports teams to commit to it. Now, I don't give a shit about the Lions. I do for the sake of my wife, who's a Lions fan, and to my mother-in-law, who is a Lions fan, and no doubt an avid listener to this show. But man, aside from the Lions, I'm a Detroit diehard, and it's like they're all bad. And well, with the Tigers, it's not hard to figure out what's going on there. They're just for another day. But for the Pistons, it's like I can't tell you how stoked I was. I was like, we're getting Cade back. healthy. Here we go. And
Oh, I
then
know it.
just
We spoke over the summer, and it
yeah,
was such a juxtaposition. Like you were
yeah.
so optimistic about Detroit, and I was so down on the Suns, even though they have their big three and all that. And I'm not saying I'm fully in on the Suns. I'm still cautiously optimistic. But even I agreed with you, Brad. And it truly wasn't just out of my love and admiration for you. I really looked at Detroit and thought, oh man, they got some young
People
hoopers.
were picking him as like a play-in team in
Yeah, and now
fringe playoff.
Jaden Ivey apparently can't get off the bench, and I guess two thoughts I'm having. One, at some point we need to have an updated miserable sports city ranking because
Yeah.
and maybe we open this up to a poll at GIPod19 on X. And we're also on Facebook and Instagram. I think it's fair to say Phoenix and Detroit are some of the most miserable sports cities that there are. Just in terms of bad luck, in terms of awful seasons. I think we're up there, you and I. Who else is there? Like Cleveland,
I was going to
even
say
though the
basically
Cavs
Ohio.
won.
Yeah, the Cavs have won. So that's the thing. It's like if you start
Yeah,
looking at like championships, I don't really have much to complain about. The Tigers haven't won a series since the 80s, but they've been to two.
yeah. The Red
Or
Wings,
three,
though,
I can't remember. The
right?
Wings, just a hellacious stretch in the
Yeah,
90s where they were
yeah.
dominant. They were in the playoffs for 22, 23 straight years. The Pistons have won 4 championships in my lifetime.
That's so true. I
I
almost
think
forgot about
is
the
it
Larry
4? Is it
Brown.
3? Yeah,
Larry Brown.
three,
Yeah, it
three, three championships. They
was like
LeBron,
04, right?
LeBron, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, you okay? So Phoenix, I'm gonna take credit by saying
what am I
Phoenix has
thinking?
a more tortured sports history. You all have
Sports
some
history
rings out
wise,
there.
yeah, we have
Sports
we have
history,
chips, yeah,
even
but
recent, you all are higher
recent.
than
I was
us.
in college when the
Yeah,
Pistons won their last one.
I'm jealous.
Um, there was one Tyler. There was one year where um the my Wolverines, who are looking pretty good right now after college football is nuts right now. I didn't know we were going to be having this conversation, but let's talk about it.
CFP Jones,
Alabama beating Georgia, um, Texas winning, Michigan winning, like these teams winning,
Washington beat
Washington winning,
Oregon. I thought
these
for sure
teams,
Oregon was
yep,
gonna take that.
those teams winning just threw the whole playoff picture into chaos. I'm here for it. I can't wait to see what the hell happens because somebody's getting their feelings hurt because there's no way Washington's better than Georgia, but you can't exclude Washington. You
No,
cannot. So I don't know what they're going to do. They have to put the undefeated against ranked teams in there, but then you're leaving out Bama and you're leaving out Georgia if you do, which is also insane. So how do they do this? Everybody's like, we don't need an expanded playoff. Georgia's clearly the number 1 team, and well, they just lost to the number 8 team. So now what do you do? So without an expanded playoffs, we are stuck with this, and now we're going to have these likely very good SEC teams on the outside looking in, or you are going to piss off an entire side of a country and lots of other places within it. I did hear somebody say that they want Michigan to win so they can watch them have their championship taken away from them this year, which made me chuckle. And also, I don't care.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, I don't care. They didn't have to sign steal to blank Iowa State. Like they just wrecked them. So they didn't do it for Ohio State either. I don't care. That guy resigned. Connor something. I can't remember what his last name is.
It was a total work name, right?
Yeah. It sounded ridiculous.
It was like Connor Van Peoples or
I think it begins with an S.
Yeah.
But like the fact that they got caught going to the Central Michigan sideline and he was just dressed like a coach and nobody noticed right away. He's just back there on the sideline, just looking at shit. Like that's hilarious to me. But you know what? Connor Stallions. It just hit me. Connor Stallions, which is definitely a work name. That's an NXT standout.
For sure. This dude might have a future in the business. I could definitely see him as the next heel manager, as the Paul Heymans of the world, respectfully get up there in age and or maybe kind of rounding third and heading home.
He's always got a clipboard and he comes out and he dresses like whatever the other wrestler that is the opposing wrestler looks like. He just dresses like him. So he dresses like he's in the Judgment Day or that he's in the House of Black when they're facing those groups. I think that would be hilarious.
For sure. And I get maybe
in
my mind, Connor Stallions. I don't know what this dude looks like, Brad. So I'm just off the cuff here. I get a sense of maybe like a cross between Jimmy Hart and Bill Alfonso. just an irritant, someone who you want to see get power bombed. This guy could appear on our screens for sure.
He looks like oh God, what does he look like?
With Stallions, though, I worry that he could be a legit like 6'2", 240.
No, he looks
Should
like
he be in the ring?
He looks part Chris Angel, and part Christopher Daniels. Like I don't know how to describe the way that this man looks. This man looks like nothing that makes sense. He's he does not have an upper lip. He does not have much of a lower lip. He's giving me. We're gonna segue into this here. He's giving me Charlie Brown vibes here. I'm gonna send you a picture of this to you right now, so you can take a look at it while I talk about theater. Tyler, we have not done this in a while, and normally this is reserved for wrestling. However, we are going to go into live event Jones. I'm going to tell you all about You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. So play the music. Okay, Tyler, this week, the Miranda High School Advanced Theater put on a production of You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. We had two casts, much like I Will Conquer You Fear. There was one cast for one day and another cast for the next day, and both of them did a great job. The first night, something happened. I don't really know what happened in the show because I wasn't paying attention. I was trying to see, like, why is this mic not work back here, and what's going on with this thing? And I was just looking at stuff, and I hear over my headset, what just happened? I was like, wait, what's going on? Did we just skip a whole song? Yeah, I think we did. And a whole scene. Excuse me? We missed a whole song. Whatever happened, I don't really know. Everybody wants to blame something for happening. We don't know what happened. Oh, somebody knows what happened, but it's too late. When you're in the moment, it's just like, well, we've got to figure it out. Here's the good news about You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. First of all, it's a fun show for kids. I think kids really liked it. I thought our students crushed it. Not my favorite musical in the world because it's a bunch of like vignettes throughout. So it's just like, here's the scene where Snoopy fights the Red Baron, and here's the scene where Charlie Brown is sitting on a bench, and here's the scene where it's psychiatric help and it's Lucy. If you haven't seen this and there's a local production, Tyler, because I know you love Charlie Brown, you need to go check it out. Now, there's a scene where Lucy and Linus are arguing back and forth, and he gets his blanket taken away by Lucy, and he gets it back. And then there's this whole song about him and his blanket called My Blanket and Me. One of our kids...
Let's go. I love me some Linus.
Yes. There's one of the kids had never been in a play, had never acted, I should say, in a play, had certainly never acted in a musical. He's been like one of our go-tos backstage, tech guy, doing all these things. Senior year, he wants to do something different, and he's Linus. He worked super duper hard on this song. Remember, it was one night. He gets the one night, and it's done, and they skipped his song. And I watched him walk through the curtain backstage. I will never get the look on his face out of my mind. The girl that played Lucy came around the backside to meet him on the other side, and it was sobbing. I don't know what happened there. A line got dropped and then stuff got skipped is what I understand what happened, but I don't really know because I don't know the script that well. So in a frenzy, we're like, well, so what do we do? I don't know. We send him back out there? And I'm like, we can't send him back out there. And it was like, well, what starts Act 2? Red Baron. I was like, okay, this is what we're gonna do. We'll just do it at the beginning of Act 2. What's there? It's like Red Baron. Can we do it before Red Baron? Yeah, okay. Let's do it before that. So Act 2 started, and there was no transition into it, right? Like it's because they're all vignettes. You just sort of start whenever. So Act 2 started. We had him come on stage, stage right, enter in, and he had ad-lib to get there. He had his blanket. He was like, I'm glad I got my blanket back from Lucy. She's so strong. And huge pop from the crowd. And then it went right into the song, and he got to do his song. Nobody knew anything was changed. Nobody had any clue that there was something missed. It was fine. And everybody left happy. People got to do their thing. There was a few other things that happened in there, because live events, live theater always happens this way. Somebody misses something, you got to pick it up. You got to figure it out. If there's a mistake, you got to pick it up. You got to figure it out. It reminds me of pro wrestling. It reminds me of teaching. It's things don't always go according to plan. So what do you do in that moment to try to make it better and try to fix it? So pretty cool. Really proud of them. Really happy with how it turned out. The second night went off without a hitch. I think they were all very aware of, we can't skip that. We got to make sure we get that. So they're probably a little too aware in moments. Both shows were awesome. Both nights, the crowd left super happy. Absolute blast. But live theater is going to live theater sometimes, Tyler.
I love that, Brad. That's amazing. I wasn't sure, because I specifically wanted to wait for the details of this on our recording, on our episode. I didn't want to get any spoilers. The arc makes me so happy. I was worried that this kid, this student, was gonna turn into a real life Linus Van Pelt. Like this would just be a very sad story, and there would be just a perpetual like, oh man, like he was going for the brass ring and it just got taken from him. We're gonna talk about brass ring in just a moment, actually. But the fact that he was a champ, that he got that line in, and then it was seamless. And to your point, Brad, much like we know about pro wrestling, having watched it for so many years, the audience won't know,
right?
If there was a line missed or if something didn't go right, as long as you are just smooth with it and play it off and kind of stay locked in.
Yep.
We have no clue. So that's amazing, man. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of Linus, and that's big time, man. Love Marana High School. Love me some Charlie Brown.
Yeah, it was a blast, and we don't stop. Today's the 3rd, tomorrow's the 4th, and on the 4th we have auditions for Once Upon a Mattress. It's a Princess and the Pea story, it's one of my favorite musicals, one of my favorite characters in particular. A lot of jokes in there because her name is Winifred, but she goes by Fred. She's an absolute tomboy. Is the king who is muted. He's been cursed with silence and he can't speak through the whole thing. And my buddy Mike was cast as this in, God, what year is it? 2001, 2002. I graduated. I think it was 2001. And my girlfriend at the time played Winifred. And Mike stole the show. He had no lines. It was all pantomiming and being physical and doing physical comedy, and he absolutely stole the show. So I'm looking forward to figuring out who could fit that role. I can't wait. I love this stuff, man.
Yeah, man. To see how happy it makes you is just it's awesome to see. Well, speaking of what makes us happy, Brad, WWE, really huge week. I have an important question for you. Are you ready for it?
Let's do it.
So, 2 big returns. Capital B, capital I, capital G. 2 big ones to weekly TV. Of course, you know where I'm going here. Randy Orton and CM Punk are back.
R-Truth, I thought.
R-Truth is there, but he's not the focus of this question.
Got it.
I was fascinated, Brad, by the drastic difference in responses to both of these guys and what they did last week. Not necessarily from the crowd, but thinking of the IWC and what we see on social media, which I know can be very different than folks who attend shows. But alas, these were 2 of the main talking points from the week. Randy Orton signed with SmackDown and RKO'd anyone in sight. Namely Jimmy Uso and Nick Aldis, which I enjoyed both RKOs quite a bit. Whereas Punk said, "I'm home," and he said some other words during his relatively brief and, of course, polarizing promo on Monday Night Raw. 2 huge stars are back, 2 main event talents. I want to know, what did you think about how these 2 guys were presented on Raw and SmackDown this week in their big celebratory returns, Brad?
Randy getting up onto the turnbuckles to do his pose and getting emotional before he hit it, knowing full well that he might have never come back, was such a good moment. I think Randy is going to be universally beloved in WWE because he's always been a WWE guy. I'm not counting OVW here. He's always been a WWE guy. He's never disparaged the company. Not since his earlier days where he was getting in trouble and almost got punted from WWF, WWE at the time, I guess. But he's always just sort of been like the perfect sports entertainer. He's really good in the ring. He's incredible on promos. He's such a good character. And I don't remember who said it, but like, man, who was it? Was it Austin? Was it? I don't know. One respected WWE talent, we'll say, because I don't know who it was, said that if they could grow the ideal WWE superstar in a lab, it would be Randy Orton. So for him to come back, I think he's just going to be beloved. It's why I don't know that a heel character works for him right now, is because people are going to get on board with him no matter what, even if he's a bad guy. So I just don't think it'll work. It's sort of like Rhea right now. Yes, she's evil. She's bad. She's also celebrated and cheered. She's the women's version of Stone Cold Steve Austin right now in terms of reactions. Maybe popularity, man. Like if you lump in TikTok, it's got to be up there. So with CM Punk finally getting to PG Punk is what it felt like. This felt like PG Punk. This felt like,
talk to me. I'm ready. I've been waiting for this since Monday. Last Monday.
All of the things that MJF had said in his promos with Punk about how he's not the same guy. He's not the ass kicker. He's just vanilla and boring. Listen, man, I have a question. I think about this, or just some clarity, but I'll say it now, just in case, because I knew you're going to ask me at least about one of those things. So I tried to change it up. So time was cut from his promo because other things went long. In particular, I think the Randy segment went long, which forced everything back a little bit. And
live theater.
Live event Jones. And legitimately Randy deserves it, because Randy deserves it. The dude's back was destroyed. CM Punk, I don't know what the motives are for coming back and going to the WWE outside of celebrity and outside of a desire to work. I know Impact made a big offer, and it was ultimately turned down, probably because of exposure and money. I'm sure WWE just had more money,
which makes all the sense in the world for Impact, by the way, to try to get the
100%
in the pond. Yeah,
I would probably watch Impact for that.
Yeah, you're not alone.
So, and I would do it if it was easier to find. If Impact was easier to find, and I had to go like searching around, watching stuff on Twitch and stuff, I don't want to.
I'm telling you, man, that $1.50 monthly subscription on YouTube, that's going to be the way to go until they actually land a network deal, which hopefully isn't too far off in their future.
I hope so, man, because if NWA could almost get a deal,
exactly,
which they did, it fell through, I believe. But
that's right, yeah, CW.
Yeah, so which is not the CW anymore. It's something, I don't know. It's like Diet CW. It's not. I don't know. Anyway, another time. I think it was almost criminal how similar it was to his first dance promo. There were so many elements of it that were almost exactly the same that it felt gross. He looked kind of wooden, and I don't know if it was because he was like emotional to be back in the WWE, because the way he ended it was the most interesting part of his promo. And it wasn't part of his promo. It was at the end, and he's just talking. Not here to make friends. I'm here to make money. How I felt about the promo is how he summed up why he's there. That's exactly what it felt like. He didn't feel like he was there to make friends. It kind of felt like he wasn't there to make fans. He was just there to make money. And for the WWE faithful that don't watch any other products, and for people that don't get him, our friend Alan overseas, it's harder to get AEW programming if you're across the pond. So seeing CM Punk coming back to the WWE could be understandably one of the most exciting things in the world. I'm excited to see what happens here. I'm pumped, and I'm glad he's still in wrestling. I just thought that promo sucked. I thought it was awful. Like one of the worst promos I've seen. Like if you're a WWE writer, do better, man. Like you got to do better than that, because that was just like you Googled speech number 2, CM Punk, and then copy pasted it. It was gross. Like it just felt gross.
Maybe some Chat GPT action.
Yes.
Yeah, I tried that out for the first time last week. Really exciting and maybe a little scary. I don't know.
Both of those things, yes.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you, Brad. This was the first time in a while where, as a CM Punk stan, I was really down on it, and I thought about
Yeah.
preparing for our conversation today. I've been thinking about it for legitimately a few days, and I think I've now reached the point because I agree with you about the promo wasn't great. Like you said, it was definitely rushed. So I'm eager to see what he does on SmackDown this week.
Yeah.
But it just felt really hypocritical because we'd seen him 2-ish years ago on the first dance, uh, referring to WWE as the place that made him sick, and
Yes.
now he. And I get there's a new regime now, even though he's apparently has had beef with Triple H, but they've squashed that, it appears, which is awesome, by the
That's
way.
great.
Like, that's
Awesome.
big time. We'd love to see that. But as a CM Punk stan, I just listened to that promo and thought, is this I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it because this is a bar that I thought of for all week, and I need to say it. Is being a CM Punk fan, is that feeling akin to what it's like to be a Donald Trump supporter? Because I'm not saying I'm gonna wear a red hat, Brad. Absolutely not. Never. Couldn't be me. But I feel like we're just being really gaslit, and facts are presented to us, but we put that to the side because of how Punk makes us feel. His entrance, his words, like when he's on fire, we just feel that and we
Yeah.
put logic to the side. So I don't know how to feel about this. I'm really eager to see what he does, like I said, on Friday on SmackDown. I think it's gonna far surpass what we got on Raw. Like
Yeah.
you said, ultimately, if he's in a happier place, if he squashed old beefs, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the other parties involved. And this is going to make a lot of money. All week, Brad, I saw the highlights on Raw and SmackDown of CM Punk's return passes 90 million views across all social media platforms. It's the number one most viral moment in WWE history. And like, they're already cashing in. I can only imagine how many tees they've sold at this point.
Yeah.
The match versus Seth, the eventual match versus Roman, all of that is going to do big business. So I think it's a win for all parties involved. As a fan, I just find myself in another place where I'm like, I don't know how I should feel about Punk. I think I
Yeah.
still love him. I think he's still my guy, but this promo was a bit of a letdown in terms of what I thought we were going to get.
Yeah. You said everything that I thought. I can't wait to see what he does. I think it's going to be way better. Again, I think it did feel rushed. It was one of those things where it was like, we got to get him out there. We gotta pop a rating. And they did, compared to what they usually did, which is still way lower than SmackDown, I think. I think I saw 1.4,
Mm.
which it surprised me. I thought it would be much higher.
Yeah, SmackDown's the A show, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's a 3-hour show of a lot of, I don't know. Did you watch Raw this week?
No,
I
no.
watched it start to finish.
Oh wow, no, I caught bits and pieces, including the Randy and Punk promos.
Yeah, I watched it start to finish, and part of the reason that I don't like watching the whole thing, or at least live, is that I have to sit through stuff I don't care about that's not set up at all.
Right,
And people
right.
criticize AEW all the time about this. It's like, this isn't a story, this is just a match. I'm like, you're telling me all this stuff isn't just a match? Like, there's crap on here that it's just there because they just had a PLE. They're trying to give people rest. I assume that's why they're doing it, coupled by better promos and better feuds and better storylines with talking than anybody's doing in the industry. So all of the backstage stuff, all the promo work, top notch, incredible. All the in-ring stuff, it was really entertaining. And outside of the tag team eliminator thing, or whatever it was called, the number one contender gimmick, that was awesome. That I really liked because that had stakes, and he got to showcase a whole bunch of people, and that was really cool. And I thought that was really fun, and I thought they made the Creeds look great, and they shined so strong. But then after that, everything that I enjoyed happened backstage or in the ring with a microphone, not in the ring for wrestling. There wasn't really much in there that I cared about until the end when Randy fought Dom Dom. That
So
was
good.
kind of it. Yeah.
We'll have a conversation about Dom on our year end.
Yes.
Stock is up.
I was real wrong about this.
Mm-hmm.
Really glad that he's ascended to what he's ascended to. But yeah, just the show, just not for me, man. Like, AEW needs to step it up with promo story work outside of sports stuff if they're going to keep doing the sports entertainment angles instead of just the sports competition stuff, because I'm loving what they're doing in the Continental Classic. I love the beginning of Collision. I love all of that stuff. but the Tony Storm stuff is some of my favorite work being done right now. It's so good. WWE just has all of their promo work is just all really good. It's just so good. It's wonderful to watch. I would love to separate the show between the two things and then just catch the wrestling later if I wanted to and just watch all the promo work because it's just so good. Tyler, we could talk about CM Punk's lifeless promo on Raw and how the best line of the promo happened after the promo. We could also talk about how time was cut from it because of other segments and matches going long, particularly Randy's return, which brings us to SmackDown. So the question, with Randy going after the Bloodline, what are you hoping to see out of this feud? And do we get any LA Knight interaction at any point during the feud? Not the
Definitely.
food. Yeah. I'm hungry, man.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. So I did watch every minute of SmackDown. Big week for Bobby Lashley.
Good.
I'm eager to see what they do with Pete Dunne. I kind of like that.
Flowers in the ring for Bobby, man.
Yeah.
People chanting Bobby
Dude's
as a
over.
heel.
Yeah. Street Profits like Montez Ford.
God,
I mean, if there were, and love Angelo Dawkins, by the way, as well.
The Suit Profits.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I feel like I don't know two dudes that wear a suit better than Bobby Lashley and Montez Ford. It's just, it's absurd. I want suits to look like that on me.
Well, you got to get them tailored, man.
Yeah, precisely. Santos Escobar, Bobby Lashley. We obviously love Bianca Belair. Great to see her match up with Kyrie. Bayley is for sure getting that sympathetic babyface turn. We know it's coming. But to answer your question, I definitely think we're getting Randy and LA teaming up at some point this month, on the road to the Roman versus Randy match. What I want to see from it, just good in-ring work. I want to see Paul Heyman continue to be ingrained in this. I would love Paul Heyman to receive an RKO. I don't think that's too far-fetched. I like the interaction with him and Randy on SmackDown.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of legs to that. And I really want LA Knight to still be featured prominently. To me, it's evident that he should be the challenger to Logan Paul at WrestleMania, and he should dethrone Paul for the US gold at that show.
Yeah,
but what do we do? We have this conversation all the time, Brad. What do we do with the talent that's really over from now until then? Like December to April, that's a long time. So I would imagine LA is going to be in the Rumble, but obviously won't win. I want him involved in meaningful stories. I want him to get that TV time. I want him to win matches. So I definitely want him and Randy to tag at a certain point. And until then, I mean, I want the Roman versus Randy promo. I know Roman is scheduled to be appearing on some upcoming SmackDowns. WWE's been promoting that the Tribal Chief will be there. So I want to see them do their thing. I want to see... I just want to see this match. I think this makes a lot of sense for the next Roman challenger. By no means do I think Randy is taking the gold off him, but this makes a lot of sense for a big time Royal Rumble championship match.
Yeah, and we don't know what's going to happen. The thing I think universally love about battle royals, the Royal Rumble specifically, is that we can get these feuds sort of built within the ring during the match, and see what comes out of that. I'm with you with all of this. I think that, God, I can't wait. Again, the mic work, the backstage stuff for this is going to be, it's going to be incredible. And I don't know when the Randy match, maybe Randy is Roman's match at the Rumble.
I think so.
I would love, this is what I think should happen. I think they should go Ric Flair on the Rumble and say, Roman, nobody's been able to beat you. The bloodline has been helping you, all of these things, and say, your title is on the line. Whoever wins the Royal Rumble wins the title.
Wow.
And go Ric Flair and just have Roman come in at 30th and beat whoever it is. You could still do it. Or have him go and like have him get, like, maybe he does some stuff, nefarious stuff, starts taking people out, whatever. And then they're like, you're starting at 1. It's punishment. Nick Aldis does it and says, you're starting at 1 because of this. And he starts at 1 and has to work his way through everybody. I think that could be great. And I think LA Knight should be one of the final people in there and think like, oh, he's going to win and then just get tossed. I think it would be great, but I would love to see that. And we know that Triple H is a fan of history, is a fan of Flair, thinks he's the greatest to ever do it. So to honor him that way, I think would be really great. And it would be much better than what AEW is doing.
Wow. And If that were to happen, I had not even considered that. That's an interesting
I don't think
idea.
it will, but I would love it.
But still, yeah, that's what we have a show for. But if that does happen, then you could also get a Randy versus Roman match after that at some point between
Right.
February through April. That's interesting, Brad. I'm not immediate no on that at all. That would definitely add some stakes, and I'm intrigued.
Yeah. I don't know what'll happen, man, but I think it's going to be good. I know Jess is excited for it. She loves watching the Royal Rumble. So I'm excited for that. But she also loves watching the Golden Bachelor. And Tyler, we might go over today because we got to talk about it. The finale of the Golden Bachelor happened. I was wrong. Tyler was right. That's why this is his segment. So let's get into it. Play the music.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
This is also something I've been looking forward to all week. I was right, Brad. Teresa got the golden rose. She got the proposal. Big week for Teresa's from New Jersey. I can confirm my mom is also super stoked. Yeah, Brad, I mean, there's a lot of points we need to hit here. I appreciate you giving me my flowers. Teresa did it. This is the ultimate underdog, ultimate comeback story. I did not think we were going to be in this spot, but here we are. She pulled it off. 3 points we need to touch on real quick, and then I want to pass it to you. Big controversy this week in Bachelor Nation. I'm basking in Teresa's victory, Brad. She got the golden rose, just like I predicted 4 weeks ago. There was no path in my mind for this happening, but alas, we've reached this spot. She did it. I'm thrilled. What I'm not thrilled about, though, is the controversy, that's how you say that word, that has, I think, really overshadowed Teresa's victory, and with good reason. So let's get into it. This Hollywood Reporter article came out a day or two before the finale, and there are some pretty damning accusations here with regard to the first Golden Bachelor, the inaugural Gerry. Brad, in this article, in summary, Gerry is accused of being out in these streets, but between the time of his wife's passing and the show, apparently he has been dating, maybe even a bit promiscuous, which is totally his choice, not shaming him there. But the show has presented him to us as having not, correct me if I'm wrong, Brad, having not really dated, having been solo dolo from his wife's passing till the show, which just increases his charm that he's just been trying to find that spark with someone. So he's been out here, and there was one former ex or alleged ex who is accusing Gerry of having body shamed her. He had an issue with her weight and didn't want her to come to an event because of how she looks, allegedly, which is not great at all. And the other accusation in this article is regarding Gerry's profession. He's been presented to us as a 72-year-old restaurateur from Indiana.
Yeah, that part got me when I found out. It's pretty funny.
According to the article, after researching his LinkedIn profile, which seems a little too easy, I can't believe his LinkedIn profile has just been here this whole time. The article alleges that he is not the restaurateur that he's been presented as. Apparently, he worked in a restaurant a few decades ago, but since then, he's done a lot of kind of traditionally blue-collar work, maintenance work, again, which is awesome, but the show has presented him to us as one way, relationship-wise, professionally, but it turns out Gerry might be a completely different person. One of my takeaways is that this completely mirrors pro wrestling, as we often say. This feels like a Gerry heel turn. Brad, I want to know your thoughts. We can get into a lot. We can get into how he handled the Leslie breakup, which most of Bachelor Nation was not a fan of, myself included. I think he really fumbled that. Leslie tells him, "I love you," and Gerry says, that's a special thing to say to someone.
Yeah, rough.
And 12 hours prior, he was making Leslie feel like she was the one. This was not a good week for Gerry. Brad, what do you think of this finale? I need your thoughts on the Hollywood Reporter article. Where are you at?
First of all, Leslie was right about everything that she said. I'm so team Leslie after that, because I thought for sure it was happening. The way he talked to her, the things he said to her, all felt very real. And then he even swerved Teresa up on that platform. Like, we were all like, oh shit, he's really, he can't say yes to either of these women. And then he swerved and then he cried and he's like, I can't live without you, yada, yada, yada. Listen, man.
Yeah, listen.
The Hollywood Reporter article and an interview he did afterward, which is the part that got me, was like, in the show, I haven't dated in 45 years or whatever. And then in the show, he's like, or in that interview, he basically said, well, actually, I did date a little bit off and on. He lived with a woman. He dated her for 10 months, lived with her for a year and 9 months in his dream home that he built with Tony, and failed to mention that happened. And oh, by the way, this woman slipped and required surgery on her leg on the way out after he body shamed her and said, basically, I'm not going to this reunion with you looking like that. I'm not trying to shame anybody here, but like, how can you not just be cool with that? It's not like, I'm not even going to go any further than that. I'm just going to leave it there. I think it's ridiculous. This guy seems like an absolute POS. The fact that he lied about this restaurateur stuff.
This is nuts, man. Absolutely nuts.
This restaurateur stuff is so funny. He owned a hamburger stand that he closed in 1985. Tyler, how old were you in 1985?
I was in heaven, certainly, and that was 8 years before I debuted on this earth. You know?
Yes.
before I made my debut.
Yeah. For the Y2J countdown started.
Exactly. 8 years prior. Yep.
I was 3 years old when he retired as a restaurateur, and then, according to the article, worked in the meat business, whatever that means. I don't even know what that means. Before also becoming a custodian, it sounds like, our maintenance guy. Yeah, now, all that being said, universally beloved by the people that he worked there. But like, retired restaurateur definitely paints a better picture than guy in the meat business, whatever the hell that means. Because I don't think it paints what The Bachelor wants out of a person if you say he was a custodian, which kind of pisses me off, because it's like diminishing that work, which is important work. Absolutely. It's crazy important work.
You really read these articles, man. Oh my gosh. You were Hollywood Reporter, People Mag. You were out here. I'm proud of you.
The thing that got me was that the first real date with this woman, that his first person he dated, the first date he had, was to help donate his dead wife's clothes by inviting her over to help him get rid of them and donate these clothes a month after the funeral, Tyler. 1 month later, and Gerry is deciding, you know what? It's been enough time, 40 plus years. I've had a month. It's time to move on. Like, get all the way out of here with this guy. Like, him crying on TV now makes me look at that and go, yeah, I don't buy it. I don't believe you at all at that point. You're full of shit.
Them crocodile tears.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't believe it. Yeah, I don't believe it at all. I believe that he was stressed at the end, that he was about to hurt these people. I believe that he has a good heart in that respect, that he does care how people feel. I just think he cares more about how Gerry feels about all of this. The real loser in all of this is Teresa. Because this article did not come out.
Prenup Jones.
I'd be signing the hell out of that.
Prenup Jones, Teresa.
I will be coming downstairs before making the bed. I will be, because Gerry did not like that, allegedly. I will be gaining weight because I like to eat. I will be, put it in writing, Teresa. Don't fall for this guy.
She's got some money. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Protect your assets.
And the speculation was that that's what changed during the overnight. The big question from the finale, Brad, was what happened in the overnight with Teresa. And of course, your brain could say one thing, it's an overnight, right? But the gossip from Bachelor Nation was that's when Gerry really understood Teresa's wealth and her career, and that's what put Teresa. That's what kind of vaulted her to being the one instead of Leslie. So I don't know if is Gerry nefarious? Is the Bachelor casting I don't know. I'm shook.
During the final app too, when they interviewed when Leslie and Gerry sat down with each other, and Gerry basically said, no, was it with Leslie? It was after that, I think, with Teresa, for making the decision. He ultimately said, I just wanted to be with somebody that knew how to be in a long-term committed relationship. It was absolutely a shot fired at Leslie, saying she doesn't know.
She's been divorced, and
Teresa
doesn't win.
Oh God, not again. No.
I think we're good. Yeah, so this asset conversation, maybe that's why Gerry chose Teresa. If we can believe, I don't want to believe that's the reason. It feels super insidious, but maybe that's what vaulted Teresa into the top spot during the overnight, as Gerry learned of her immense wealth, and that's why he chose her. I hope that's not the reason, Brad, but I was just not expecting, nor was I ready for this Gerry heel turn.
No, I apologize for the look on my face there. It's I popped myself because I typed in 105 we back, and I didn't see that you had just typed it as well.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Yeah, pretty great. We've been having some tech problems around here, so this is gonna be a fun one to edit. I thought while Gerry was on the stage talking about the Leslie stuff, all I could think is Leslie might have just picked some really terrible ones. She seems to fall for people pretty hard, pretty quickly, and not let go. I can empathize with that, and she just has not picked good people to fall in love with. Case in point, Gerry. Seems like scum. I could be wrong. We're looking at one or two people's perspectives, or 10 people's perspectives, whatever this is. So maybe those 10 people are all wrong. Jess was like, well, they're jaded and jilted, and they're just looking to get attention for all this. I'm like, she remained anonymous because she didn't want people to know. So I don't know, man. The idea that it was, hey, you're fat, get out, rips her leg apart, and then says, well, you're just doing it so you can sue me. So you're going to have to not stay here. You're going to have to go find a hotel. I'll drop you off, or I'll get you a cab. Call me when you get there so I know you made it okay, is crazy to me. So if any of this stuff is true, good luck, Teresa. Get the prenup. Gerry is scum. I feel so bad for Leslie. I feel great for everybody else that dodged that bullet. The reactions by the girls in the crowd to that stuff when Gerry started talking, the side eyes and the big size. Ooh, yeah, that was Ellen's eye roll and the look away was just This is also good.
I think she's a front runner for the first Golden Bachelorette.
Yeah.
Are you thinking Ellen or Leslie for that spot?
I don't know. Leslie makes a lot of sense, but Ellen would be a really entertaining one. It's just we don't get to see a lot of the Bachelor or the Bachelorette on these shows. It's more about the contestants, and then the only time we care about the Bachelor or the Bachelorette is when it's decision making time. Otherwise, it's like, ooh, how's this person gonna do here? But they haven't announced the Golden Bachelorette. They have to, right? Like, there's no way to avoid it.
Right.
I have zero interest in watching The Bachelor.
I was going to say, yeah, Joey, we're going to take a hiatus from this segment until Joey season kicks off. I think it's on January 22nd, so we got some time.
You'll fill me in, and I'm sure I'll look it up.
I'm filling you in.
I'm going to be probably watching this the way that I've been watching Raw, which is in bits and pieces and chunks, and finding the segments I'm really interested in. But hopefully they can turn me around on Raw, and if they can do that, anything's possible with The Bachelor, Tyler.
Yeah, for sure. Well, in terms of turning things around, Brad, we got to talk All Elite Wrestling. I felt it was a really strong week for AEW for lots of reasons, but we'll go ahead and save that for our question. So you ready for mine?
Oh, I'm ready.
Let's go. So first, big shout out to Tony Storm and Sky Blue. Really great promos from
Yes.
both women on Collision, building to their match this Wednesday. I'm really excited for that. We also, I believe you alluded to this earlier, we also saw several bangers in the Continental Classic this week. I really love what they're doing here. I didn't quite understand it at first, but now I totally get it. I'm here
Yeah.
for the Blue and Gold League, and I think it's been really great programming for them. With that in mind, I want to ask you about two and totally separate, right? So this may be a however on this question. I want to ask you, Brad, about two crowd reactions that stuck out to me this week in AEW. I think we're seeing two wrestlers really ascend as we wrap up the calendar year. Here is my question. Who turns face first? Julia Hart or Swerve Strickland?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Both are mega over, even though they're presented as heels. I think it's just becoming undeniable that we love both. Who turns first?
I don't know, because I don't know that. Have they not already? So
have we already reached that
well,
stage?
they're both super over, and if
They are.
if
They
if
really
the crowd
are.
is cheering your actions, even if you're a bad guy, are you actually a heel? So you
What do you
can
think?
work heel and be like Stone Cold was stunning people that were beloved and getting cheered. He was hitting his boss and getting cheered. Like I get that Mr. McMahon became a real like huge heel, but it wasn't immediate. It was like because of the Brett stuff is when that character took off. So, but Stone Cold stunning The Rock, even when he was a good guy, was like it was awesome. Julia Hart being in the House of Black and doing nefarious things, she's going after what is Abaddon? I don't know what Abaddon is. Heel, face, just dead. Like I don't really
They're just
know.
Abaddon. Yeah. They're their own entity.
Yeah, so I don't know, because Julia Hart popped up behind Abaddon. So I don't know what that is.
House of Heart season. Yep.
Feels heel on heel, right? So
Mhm.
Swerve going after people where he's being cheered and chanted, and people are calling out with whose house.
The
And
dance. Yep.
yeah, if Nana wasn't out there, I think it would be easier to boo him.
Mhm.
But I don't know that he would get booed right now. There's no reason to boo him.
Yeah.
Like it's just done.
And when he becomes, I love your answer. Sorry to interject here. When I was thinking about this question, my thought too was when he becomes. That's right, not if. When he becomes world champion, I think we're all going to be here for it. I think it's going to be a huge moment. It's going to be emotional. First Black world champion. I think by that point, he's actually going to be presented as a babyface. I think him and Nana are going to completely turn by then. I just don't know when that's going to be. If that's a March deal, if that's a Double or Nothing. But like you're right, Brad, they're over, and wherever they go, whether it's House of Glory, whether it's weekly AEW, they're just beloved right now, much like Julia Hart.
Yeah,
for good reason.
Yeah, it's wild, man. Like I don't think I can think of a time in wrestling where we've had more shades of gray that have been just somewhere in the middle. And I know Swerve and Nana are cheating to win, and clearly there's like the Mogul Embassy every once in a while shows up, but it hasn't really felt like they're a stable in a very long time. Like, is Big Bill still in it? I don't really understand how any of this is working. So there are the affiliates and it's very confusing right now. I don't really know what the hell's happening. To me, Nana is Swerve's manager, and the Mogul Embassy doesn't exist. Brian Cage has been doing his own thing, kinda. And Big Bill is doing his own thing. The Guns were in it at one point. Now they're in the Bullet Club Gold. So I don't really know what the hell's going on with these people. So I'm just watching. Swerve is doing other things because he's on a whole different level than everybody else right now.
Yeah,
and I'm with you. I can't wait to watch it.
That match with Jay White was a blast. And Swerve, the way he's so fluid in the ring, and he just had to set this transition between 3 or 4 moves, kind of in the middle, maybe near the end of the match, where he was just so fluid. And I felt like the crowd even reacted to him just, oh my God, this guy is just so good. He's just operating on another level right now that we just need to cheer for him because we just enjoy watching him do what he does, and he got the win, which I was not expecting against Jay White. I thought maybe that would be the time to have a draw, but he definitively picked up that W.
Yeah.
I just love seeing how they're pushing him right now. I don't know. That being said, I don't know if he's going to be the winner of the Continental Classic. I don't know that he needs to be, because I want him firmly going for the top gold in the company. But to see him off to such a strong start has been really awesome. And I think a lot of that is because Tony Khan and company can see the crowd is really reacting to him. Like Julia Hart, he's becoming undeniable. And I love that for both of these wrestlers.
Yeah. And also shouts to Swerve. His album's really good. I've listened to it a few times.
Man.
It's really good.
Have you really? I need to keep that.
I
know
enjoy
we've sent it to Mo.
Mo.
Shout out to Mo of 19 Media, Hidden Gems Football, and many other shows.
Well, I don't think it was his. Was it his album at that point, or was it just the EP?
I think it was just the EP, but Mo co-signed, and we know Mo has a good ear
he's
for
like,
hip-hop.
this is legit. Yeah.
So Swerve's over everywhere, man.
Yeah,
19 Media Group, AEW fans.
Yeah, the full album was out. I picked it out because he tweeted it out,
okay.
And I don't know if it was just like, hey, I'm reminding you that I have an album out, but I was like, oh, I didn't realize there was a full album, and I listened to it. I was like, wow, it's really good. So, Adam Copeland, he dropped an F-bomb on TV. Apparently, this is okay. So I was like, oh, they're going to get fined by the FCC. No, not on cable television. On cable television, it turns out that you could probably get away with doing hardcore porn on cable, and nobody, I'm not kidding here. And the FCC won't do anything because cable television has different rules than network television. Your sponsors are going to all pull out. No pun intended there. But they're, like for an F-bomb to go, there is no fine. It's just a sponsor issue. The network may issue a fine, but it's not coming from the FCC. I was very curious about this. I'm down a rabbit hole this week. So Copeland dropped an F-bomb. Willow is fighting Mercedes Martinez. Ethan Page is fighting Kenny Omega in Canada. Malachi Black continues to be top tier, and Buddy Matthews needs all the titles if he grows another muscle. Matt Hardy is reportedly frustrated with booking of the Hardy Boys in AEW. And some, allegedly, former WWE talent that worked for AEW want out. There are high points and low points in AEW right now, but we got to talk about Ric Flair. His girls of a certain age line going to his dressing room or whatever, his hotel room, was removed from Rampage, thankfully. But the Woo energy ads remain all over the place. In fact, Andrade was slugging it during his match. He went over and popped it, and they had a Twitter exchange, an X exchange. But Ric Flair expressed frustration with the negativity coming from the IWC in reaction from fans about him being on there, and said he's willing to step away if he's an embarrassment to the company. Tyler, what are your thoughts on all this Flair business?
Mm-hmm. It makes me sad. On one side of the coin, I totally agree with the fan base, and I agree with you that we've been getting a lot of Ric Flair. It's pretty jarring to see Dynamite open, and on the Trons, on both sides, on the left and right, we have the Flair logo and the Woo energy.
So bad.
It's next to Taz and Excalibur and the crew on commentary.
And the cans on the front of the table.
Exactly. The
everywhere,
cans,
man.
As you pointed out, Andrade, granted, it's his father-in-law, but Andrade inserted that in his match this week. So it's one thing to have Flair back. And my understanding is he's here specifically for the purpose of supporting Sting, which we know that storyline will end in a few months when Sting has his last match at Revolution. But it's just been too much Flair too quickly. We were speaking about Gerry earlier. We know this is the time we live in, where the actions, particularly of men in the past, are coming back and are coming to light, which is not a bad thing at all. We know that Ric Flair's been accused of sexual assault. So that's a huge layer to this conversation. Not only is the storyline just not really awesome, but then what does it look like when we're bringing back this wrestling legend who has all of these allegations against him? And like you said, even the line that was cut this week, it's like, has Rick really learned? Like, I get this is his character, but this is not what we should be doing, especially when these accusations are against you. So I agree with the fan base that is saying this is too much Ric Flair. We do want him off our screens. Get the heck out of here. But then on the other side, for whatever reason, Brad, seeing Flair's post on X this week, where you're right, he did say, at Tony Khan, if I'm embarrassing you or this company, I can leave. I don't need the money. For some reason, it just really hit me, and I kind of felt sympathy for Flair, which I didn't know I was going to feel, but it just made me think of like, yeah, Ric Flair is older. He is here to celebrate one of his best friends in Sting, to kind of see him on the way out. I would imagine maybe Sting even, I don't know that Sting requested Flair be there, but I would imagine it really means a lot to Sting, who is beloved by the fan base. So it just made me think about, just elderly people in my life and how we treat them in their advanced age and even when they have their gaffes. So I don't know how I feel about this. It makes me sad on all ends. I would like Ric Flair to stay, particularly if it means a lot to Sting. But then after the storyline, after Revolution, I don't know that I need Flair here. I don't necessarily want to see him managing Andrade or anything like that. I think I'm somewhere in the middle, Brad. If I'm not totally team Flair, I'm not totally team internet wrestling community. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm really stuck on this one. How about you?
I'm right there with you. I love me some Ric Flair. Like, I love me some Ric Flair. It's kind of like, I don't know. I don't feel bad going back and watching old Hogan. I just never want to see him again. Like, I don't need him doing other stuff. Like, we know what we know now. We know what he said. He's caught on tape. We know what Ric Flair is alleged. And this is the part that I always struggle with, because it's like, there's no convictions. It's all accusational. And at the same time, we know how this works. And I'm going to side with the people that were victims.
Of course.
So it's always a struggle, because it's like, I always want to say it's like guilty until proven innocent is not the way I want to think.
right.
But
so true.
But it's also one of those things where it's like, he was never proven innocent. He was just not proven guilty. So that's why we say found not guilty, not proven innocent. So I struggle with that aspect of it. But if you have those accusations, if you have those things in your past, we know Flair is a once in a lifetime kind of promo. Like, he's one of one. There will never be another Ric Flair, nor should there be. Both of those things are true, but letting him write his own promo there and go back to the old Nate promos doesn't work when you have these allegations, which is why they cut that thing out from Rampage. But he said it. You can't unsay it. People heard it. People reported it while it was being taped, that he went out there and said, like, if you're a woman between 18 and 20 or whatever it was, or 22, I think, here's my hotel room, or come to my hotel room, or something like that. He's just saying Nature Boy things, but he said it, and it didn't air on Rampage. And it's like, read the room, man. And I'm not going to sit here and say Tony Khan should be embarrassed by it. There are some female content creators in the IWC that have been really strong about Flair, and I don't know. It made me feel a way seeing it, where I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to feel about this, because it's like, I support you, but also, like, how you're talking to this person, where, you know what I mean? Like,
I think that's it. Yeah. Like, I think that's it, Brad. You really touched on something there. I can only imagine the amount of posts and things he's tagged in weekly that are probably horrendous. Right. Yeah. So, like, I really feel for him there. But I also don't want to be the guy who's defending someone who's accused of that just because he pops me, or because I had his T-shirt,
right,
from ages 9 till 28.
Right.
It's so difficult, man. But I agree with you, like that. How are the women in our life feeling? The women who watch this product, how are they feeling? Because that, I want to hear that, and I want that to help influence how I process this, because I just don't want to be another dude who's supporting a problematic artist.
Yeah. And that's, again, we always end up coming back to this. It's separating the art from the artist. It just seems to be a conversation and a recurring theme here on GI. which kind of says a lot about the music and the entertainment industry, if that's
For
something you talk
sure.
about
Like,
regularly.
Diddy tried to blow up Kid Cudi in his car because Kid Cudi was talking with Cassie, who apparently Diddy was involving Cassie in sex trafficking and just not like making her take drugs and not treating her right at all. So it's like now I can't listen to any Diddy tracks the same way.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like I've expunged R. Kelly out of my life. I love Ignition the remix, but I don't need to love it anymore ever. And now for Diddy, same thing. Like who would have thought all these years he was a total scumbag?
Yeah. Well,
Had
I
no,
mean,
had no clue. I should have, I guess.
yeah, that one, those are the ones that we kind of surprise ourselves. Ric Flair, finding out Ric Flair might have gotten a little bit too handsy, or opened up his nature boy robe with nothing down there and helicoptered at somebody.
Yeah,
Like,
the plane ride from hell, right?
yeah, those things, yes, those things don't shock me whatsoever. Um, but the assault allegations are the part that's like, man, it's hard to ignore that.
For sure.
And when people come out with that years later, it's like now they're I don't know what to do, because it's like there's no way to prove that it didn't happen, and that sucks. And there's no way to prove that it did happen, and that sucks. And it's like nobody wins in that scenario.
No, not at all.
And
And
yeah, it's just awful.
and in my there's such a juxtaposition for me between this is a very AEW centric thing here of part of what appealed to me at the start of AEW was they said we are never bringing in Hulk Hogan. He is not allowed to come to, right. It was like him and his wife,
Yeah.
ex-wife, not allowed to come to any shows. I was like, oh my gosh, like they're speaking to me. This is what I'm all about. And even
Yeah.
now, I have no interest in seeing Hulk Hogan. I have no sympathy for that man. But for Flair, for whatever reason, I'm more conflicted. And Hogan, obviously, there are allegations against him that are different in many ways. But yeah, just these wrestling legends, man. Like you said, Brad, it's like sports, entertainment, art. There are just these people, largely dudes, who were so influential to our
Yeah.
upbringing. And now, all these years later, this is coming to light again, as it should. And how do we wrestle with our relationship to them and their art? It's like you said, it's a continued conversation. It's
And I
important.
think one of the things we should talk about at some point, I would love to have this conversation with people that are better equipped to do this than just you and I. But think about Rhonda and Lacey. So Lacey leaving, Ronda Rousey leaving the WWE, a lot of it because of IWC pushback and people just going like, well, you're a Sandy Hook denier and you're kind of insane, and you're super mega and you're kind of insane. And having them get pushed out because of those things and treating them like scum for it, but welcoming back somebody like Ric Flair, who has real allegations and not just like, I just disagree with, they're crazy. Like Rhonda hasn't done anything except say some stupid things, and Lacey hasn't done anything except serve the country. So it's and then say horrific things about being autistic. They haven't done anything except say damaging things, where some of these people that go into the companies have done damaging things, or said really damaging things, really damning things about their own character. Now, I'm not excusing anybody's behavior, but like we had Sabu in AEW recently, and we have
And
Ric Flair there now.
I had
and
no clue that he
yeah,
was a real life scumbag. Had no clue until
yeah.
he popped up again, and I saw tweets and stories, and I was like, oh wow, that's good to know. I learned
And
something.
then, yeah, and then 3/4 of the community are like, get that piece of crap out of here with CM
Mhm.
Punk, because of how he acted toward some of the talent in the back, Jungle Boy specifically. But he's been in several altercations now in AEW, threatened his boss in AEW, all that. But wears shirts that are supporting women's rights, workers' rights, trans rights, and seems like a legitimately good person with his beliefs and how he feels people should be treated. And then he punches people in the face because they disagree with him. So it's like,
it's such a dilemma, man.
but like that person being
Yeah.
like, get out of here.
Right.
That's too much. And then come on in here, offender, is a racist, like whatever it is, feels
That's a bad look.
feels very, very conflicted and very confusing. And I don't really know how to think of this anymore. I did not intend this segment to go this long. This has been a long ass question about really, really difficult things to talk about. on a day where we've had tech issues. So much Bachelor talk. And I don't regret a second of it. Tyler, this is a blast, but I'm sure we missed something besides the end of my rant.
For sure. I have one main item that we missed. Ashe Wrestling's first event took place on Friday. Yes, I was
forgot about that.
really looking forward to it, and I just thought it was a really special show. So, in case you're not on game here, Ashe Wrestling, spelled ASE, is a startup promotion founded by indie wrestler Darius Lockhart. The promotion spotlights Black performers in a really major way. The show is primarily, if not fully, built on Black wrestlers and Black performers. Even Lute, the hip hop artist, performed. Big Swole hosted. She was kind of the MC for this, Brad. So I hadn't seen Big Swole in a minute. That was awesome. Great talent.
Funny. Oh my gosh.
So funny.
That walk by, that poppy. You just saw that on Twitter. My God.
Yes. It was so great, man, and just really awesome talent, recognizable names: Kiera Hogan, Jonathan Gresham, Trisha Dora, the Infantry, Aja Kong main evented and won. She actually beat Trisha Dora. So this was really enjoyable. It was a total vibe. It did take place in Charlotte, and during the show, it was announced that there will be a second Ashe show, Ashe 2 to be exact. It's going to be in February. Details pending. We don't know the location or the full card by any means, but I really enjoyed this, man. I encourage our listeners and viewers and supporters to check it out. You can go to AsheWrestling.com. Again, that's ASE wrestling.com. Really fun. Felt really good to support a startup, and I'm excited to see what they do in the new year. So that's my one main item, man. I thought it was a really great show, and it just made me smile throughout. How about you?
I am currently looking at their shop, checking out their hoodies. Really nice stuff. I don't really have anything from the week. I think we covered everything. It's been a bit of a blur for a week. We had some rough stuff happen at work, and Charlie Brown happened, and it's been a really busy week. I don't even know what I missed. I have nothing at all. All I know is that I'm grateful to be here. I'm glad we were able to connect, and I'm glad the internet held out long enough for us to finish the show.
I'm glad we were able to connect, literally, figuratively, and literally. Man, we're so grateful. Well said, my friend. We're so grateful that you all joined us today. You can find our articles on wrestling, pop culture, and more by visiting gimmickinfringementpod.com. And we hope you'll join us again for the next edition of GI. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.